Hello and welcome back to the U Up Podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. So good to be back here with you, Jordana. How are you? What's happening?
I'm good. I mean, it's a week past our anniversary. I still have not gotten you a gift. I was thinking about it all week, but now that I feel like I'm late, I feel like it has to be better than yours.
It
can't be as shitty. It's very annoying.
You're in the kind of cliche male position.
Yes.
And this happens all the time because you go, now it's got to be so good that you never even do it at all.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I have been on the other end of this with Mike so many times where like, I think this happened a few times. Somehow I guess because of our release dates, man, we move all the time. We always wind up.
They move all
constantly.
the time. That is something I've learned
Sammy
about.
just moved, yeah.
Sammy just moved again.
Yes.
They're always moving.
We're always moving, as you know. And it always falls during his like busy month. There's like 4 months of the year he gets very busy. And so I took care of the whole thing because he's busy. And then, he said like, oh, like, thank you. I appreciate you taking care of this all so much. Like, I'm going to plan like a dinner. And then it was like 3 months later and he still didn't plan. I'm like, okay, like, listen, I'm not like, I don't have like the fire to you, but the longer you take, like the nicer, more exclusive the restaurant has to be. Like if I find out you're taking me to a place with like 6 open spots on Resi tonight, it's not going to, that would have been fine the week after.
Yeah.
Now it's like 3 months. Now it needs to be like.
Well, the weird, the horrible part, I don't know, ironic or whatever. The catch of that is now he has to find a restaurant that has a 3-month wait for the reservation. Yes. So now you're 6 months out.
Basically, yeah.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that you can't keep up.
Well, don't worry.
I'm worried.
That's why I can't be that late. I'm working to get this within the month.
I'm just happy it was a Starbucks gift card. It was
simple.
You
want it back?
I could use some Starbucks. No, I listen. There's no gift that would I'm gonna be. I'm not. I guess I've thought I'm not good at receiving gifts, but I do give a big like I'll give you a lot. Like
when I give
emotion.
Wow! I should bring you to Christmas at the Marinelli's.
Do they like it?
I'm already like talking about. I already was talking to Mike about like working on my faces for that. This? Oh my God!
I could coach you.
I have been wanting this for so long. How did you know?
Okay,
there's like a few.
I give you the Marinelli's. Give you a gift card. What's your reaction?
To where?
See, we're already off. You can't judge the gift. You can't even look at the gift card.
Oh my God, this is great. I really have been wanting to go there for so long. Now I have a reason to go even sooner.
That's a good one. Specific,
yes.
Vague at the same time. Yeah, don't give away too much. Okay. What if they give you a something for the home?
This is great. We're probably going to move soon. So,
let me give a note to that one.
Yeah.
Something for the home. We needed this.
Yes.
Immediate, we needed this.
Yes.
You have to go immediate. You have solved an issue for me.
I'm going to just have in my notes section of my phone just 6 different comments. And then I'm going to be like, after I open one gift, just say the next thing.
That's why I gave, different, home good, gift card. You need one for each one.
Yes.
Perfect.
You can come prepared because it's like, you know the deal. I should know the deal at this point. It's been several years. But yeah, so what's going on with you?
Want to thank everyone who came to the Boston show. Thank you.
Looked incredible.
Unbelievable.
Great theater, Wilbur.
The Wilbur. What a great experience. The energy, unbelievable to go home. I was it's emotional. It's the whole deal. Loved it. So if you came, thank you. I'm already hearing back from, last week's episode about the Seinfeld thing. So many nice compliments on that. That's very thankful for that. I'm on the road. I am on the road. Like I'm adding dates. We're taping a special.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Miami for Thanksgiving, so I'm there this weekend. This is Thanksgiving weekend.
Get your tickets.
Get
the hell away from your family.
Right, get out of there. This is the Wednesday before Thanksgiving episode.
Oh, is this our Thanksgiving Eve episode? This is our annual Thanksgiving Eve.
Right. Talk about giving people lines. What do we say? Forget everything else. We got to talk about what you see. This is the night of the year people take their shot. This is the night of the year people go out, and Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, people see people that I never thought of them as someone I could be with before. And again,
Yes.
to go back to this, I'm going to be in Miami this weekend. You can maybe bring whoever you met in Miami to my show. I'm going to be at Miami, and then I'm coming New York. We're doing the live taping. Virginia Beach, Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Toronto. I'm coming. A lot of Toronto noise out there.
Toronto, we did a show there. Great crowd.
Great. Good energy. I do remember that as well. Vegas.
It's like the better version of Buffalo if you're already going north, right?
It's the Whole Foods Buffalo.
It's like we're going to drive 8 hours north.
Yes.
Just drive an extra hour and
Just
go to Toronto.
One more hour and you're in society. Yeah. You don't yell at people to cheer for their football team. Perrysburg, Ohio, Irvine, California, Oklahoma City. Those are all down the ways, but those are all dates that have been added to my calendar, jaredfree.com. Wednesday before Thanksgiving, did you ever shoot your shot? Would you go out the Wednesday before Thanksgiving?
Like shoot my shot with a high school, like with a high school thing?
Because that's where you see all these like retreads. You see what happens is the night before Thanksgiving is a distraction, I think, dating wise.
Okay.
Because what happens is you see someone and you know the same street names. You know the same high school teachers. You have things in common. Even if you never hung out with that person before, even if this is like, I used to call it same party, different car. When you'd go to a party, you'd have your car of people in high school.
Yes.
And then you went to a party, it'd be other cars would show up. So you might know the person, but you didn't go in the same car to the same party.
Wasn't your clique.
Not your
but
clique.
It was your, someone maybe in a neighboring clique.
Right. And my dad would always be like, do you know that person? I was like, same party, different car.
Right.
So,
that's a good way to describe it.
And I've described people in my life that way ongoing. I would say that about people today in 2022 as same as high school. But what happens is it becomes a distraction because you go to these Wednesday night before Thanksgiving parties and you go, oh, that was a good conversation. That was better than the apps. That was better than going out to a bar. It's because you had, like in college, you have these things built in common. So it can be a distraction because people are out there to hook up. Just the same way, just because they know the name of, Mrs. Connolly from elementary school doesn't mean they want to marry you.
I will say I've never heard of someone getting married to someone they reconnected with on Thanksgiving Eve.
There you go.
I've never heard that story. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened.
It has happened because everything has happened.
Okay.
Let's live in a reality because you're gonna have a friend that goes, well, I know, Mrs. Connolly, whatever in the fuck.
Sure.
I hate those people, but we have to acknowledge that happens. But it's rare because
More hookup.
that is a fuck night.
Yes.
Thanksgiving Eve, Halloween.
Yes.
These are fuck nights.
And Thanksgiving Eve, again, like I agree with you, it gives you the comfort of like home.
Right.
We know all the same things.
Right.
We're back in our town, maybe thinking we're a little cooler than we were the last time we were here.
Right. I can explain my job however I'd like.
Yes.
I'm the administrator of assisting the head of finance.
Well, I mean,
you're an assistant, bitch.
I mean, especially for you, because I'm from Long Island, and Thanksgiving Eve was always from like the city, and so but most people kind of like are like lived in that area anyway.
Yes.
Whereas you are not from New York, so I
Right.
feel like when you went home for Thanksgiving, it was more of a reunion.
Right. New York does it. This is one of those New York things that isn't a thing as much.
Right.
It is more small townish. The more provincial your area is, the more this is happening.
Right. The more we're all in town.
Right.
Right.
And I could make it work, but you're right. You can't make it work.
It's tough.
It is tough. But just know, this is a warning from the You Up podcast, a very special warning. You will be emotionally masturbating to this night.
I mean, also it's this is your Christmas Eve because your Thanksgiving is your main thing. So this
is my favorite holiday of the year.
The Eve must be even better. I feel like you would love Thanksgiving Eve.
Well, right now I'm either I got to book my flight still. I'm going to Boca.
It's gonna be great.
Oh, I can't wait to be in Boca. I just love hearing when in Boca. If you listen close enough, you can hear the complaints of old women all around.
That's the magic of Thanksgiving.
Right. You put your ear to it. I put my ear to the sky in Boca, and all of a sudden I hear, "It's cold in here." So no, I'm gonna
Feels
be.
like home.
Feels like home. I'm gonna fly back. I think tonight, Wednesday night to Boca. But this is again. Now I'm away from home. You know, like this is
yeah.
the new home.
Right.
So
you're not running into anyone from high school in Boca.
yeah, and I
probably.
guess at 37, this doesn't happen as much. Like people have like new families.
Right.
We are. I have
people
aged
you knew
out.
from high school are like, I had a 10-year-old. I'm not hitting the bars.
Yeah. It is a little weird that I've aged out, but then I'm still talking about this. No, but
Well, you know, we have listeners from all different demographics at this.
Uncle
this
Jared and
Yes.
Aunt Jordana
Yes.
were warning, you know, our younger
In our day,
back.
that's how Thanksgiving Eve worked.
We have been there. I'll be at Atlantic
when you
Ave
were in
tonight. I'll go
college-
hang out in Delray.
When you were in college and maybe the years after, it was like ticketed events.
Oh my God.
in Manhattan,
Manhattan had ticketed event.
Yeah.
Oh, biggest. I mean,
big party night.
our friend Keith at Uptown Social, like.
He was running. He was the
He
promoter
was
for that.
off the wagon, down the hatch. Those are
Yeah.
big bars to go to in the city for a certain
Yeah.
age, you know?
The New Year's Eve pre-game.
I would say this night's better than New Year's Eve at a certain age.
You know, of course, way less expectations.
Don't have to dress up.
Less hyped.
Way
Yeah.
less dudes in sport coats and jeans.
Yes, the next day isn't like this depressing beginning of a new year where you have work the next day.
Absolutely. And your family's feeding you all the good hangover foods you could ever want.
Very, very true.
Let's get to the episode because a little birdie told us we've been going long lately.
Some of the producers, they're getting a little fatigued with the 10-minute conversation on Thanksgiving Eve.
Right.
Fine. It could have been 5. Maybe.
Right. No, I think this was the perfect amount of time for our pre-stuff.
Yes.
This is the sweet spot. I think we're gonna get a lot of nice messages about this specific
agree.
preamble.
And very quickly, if you know, just because we are wearing the merch, so
That's right. I got the hat
as
on.
we head into holiday season, you have a friend who's a fan of this show. The U Up sweatshirt is the most comfortable thing I own. I'm wearing it, and if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it right here.
And I'm wearing the hat, dad hat, great beach hat, great, hat. Also, you're referencing YouTube. Go right now. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Do it.
Do it.
Do it.
Come on.
Do it.
We already told you all the prizes. We're over halfway there to our 10,000 mile benchmark.
That's right.
A mile. I don't know why miles. 10,000 subscriber benchmark.
Mm-hmm.
And, we could get to 10, 20, 30,000. We just need you to click that fucking button. It's free.
Hit the button. And also the comments on YouTube have been fun.
Yeah, I read all the comments. As you know, I have too much free time.
We love it. So go. Also, there was someone on the social media made a video of them opening the U Up sweatshirt. It was such a nice video.
Such a fun video.
What's their Instagram handle if you have it? And she used Conga by Gloria Estefan.
Yes.
That's the
just
song.
a fun video. That's exactly
Fun.
how you'll feel when you unwrap your U Up sweatshirt.
Eliza Fit of the Day, at Eliza Fit of the Day. She posted this great video. So shout out to Eliza and all her fits of the day, especially the U Up sweatshirt. And you guys are doing something special for the holidays, right?
Yes, we have a virtual holiday house. You can shop on there. It's very cool. It's like you're literally in a virtual home where you can shop. When you're in a kitchen, there's certain things there. You can
Recipes,
all you at recipes, clothing, deals, betches.co/holiday house. Check it out. It's just like a really fun interactive shopping experience.
Also, I'm now an oversharing fan.
Oh, thank you.
It's great. It's a good podcast. Let me say, this podcast, we come out here screaming. We're talking our bullshit. You guys, it puts me into a zen mood. You and your sister really have a nice way about you as far as a listening experience. I don't know what you're saying, but no, it is a good. I would say that's like a great Tuesday morning, Monday morning. I listen Tuesday mornings, and I'm always zenned out. And the predicaments people are in. You read an email that made me I was wanted to go give that woman a hug.
The 35 and it's too late for me email.
the way it was written,
Yeah.
I'm like, and you guys nailed it. You nailed it, so everyone should go listen to Oversharing.
Yeah, I mean, you should even listen to hear the stuff that we didn't include, like the details that we didn't include.
From her?
Yeah, it was. I mean, because she asked not to include them, but they're very like heavy email. But something that's just so relatable, like a story. I mean, again, if you haven't listened, check out Oversharing, the episode that came out.
It'll be 2 weeks ago at this point.
Yeah, like November 14th or
I
something.
mean, she made me think of my
15th.
life. You know, like I was like, I'm 37. I don't have any. I'm where she is.
I mean, you could, yeah, it's just funny because like you could tell the story of your life in so many different ways.
Right.
And it could be a depressing story or it could be like an amazing story and you could have the same facts and tell a completely different story about like what's going on.
I mean, I just did it. You know, I'm the assistant to the researcher of finance at my company. And you go, assistant, bitch. You know,
Exactly.
those are two
Right.
different ways to look at things. And one, again, I'm the dickhead in that scenario. You know, like that's nice. You're passionate about your job. You know, and then if someone comes in and rains on the parade, she was very cloudy day about her situation, but I think she's in good shape. I mean, the way
Totally.
you guys. So go listen to Oversharing.
Yeah.
I think that was a good episode.
Check out Oversharing. If you have thoughts on that, you can DM or email that podcast. But let's get into today's
Let's do
episode.
it. Let's do it. You want to go for it?
Sure. Hey, J&J, Feather, Jared saw you in D.C. My friend and I were crying.
That's what I love.
You love to make people cry?
Oh my God. I like the laugh that's like the crying, keeled
Teary,
over,
yes.
like touching your friend, hitting them. Like that's the experience I want in a comedy show. I ain't no poet.
Right. You don't want a little smile.
No. That makes me
You
like
want them
angry.
you want them to lose control of their bladder movements.
Yeah, listen. It's,
Peeing, crying. You want them to turn into a baby.
you know, Carrot Top. There's like stories like Carrot Top, who gets made fun of a lot, prop comedian, but like Carrot Top is successful, major, and if you've ever watched him, you're like, this is unbelievable. Like but there was a story written, I think the New Yorker or something, because it was like a coastal elite paper magazine
Okay.
bringing you into the world of Carrot Top. And they talk about how he has multiple people shit their pants at the show.
Oh my God.
Like multiple people go to his show.
The dream.
Right. That's the dream. You're right.
How do you? I mean, I can't get to that point. There's got to be like certain people who are able to shit their pants at a comedy show, and
Abs-
certain people who it's just never, no matter how funny it is,
Right.
it's just never gonna. I don't think I'm ever gonna get there.
Right. I want that sense of wonder that you could shit
And
your pants.
excitement, yes.
Right. Yeah. I kind of envy that person, even
Yes.
though not their dry cleaner.
But they can get there
Right. There's something to that. And yeah, one day.
one day. That's the dream.
Yeah. But they were crying. I'm close. I'm bodily
Yes.
function funny.
Yes. Okay, so I, 29 female, met this guy, 27 male, while solo traveling in Italy this summer, who on paper is literally perfect.
Boy, did we have the opposite European experience.
Also, I just don't, I mean, here's my big red flag for anyone writing or even that I speak to. Anyone who says literally perfect about someone that they are seeing, whether they've been seeing them twice or been married for 5 years,
Right.
is a sign to me that there's something.
You've lost touch with reality
Yes,
of
no
how
one is
real
literally perfect.
Exactly. And you're writing into a dating advice podcast about the person who's literally perfect. Like
No. Right. Nuh-uh.
End of email. There's our advice.
Yes.
He's a loser.
Let's hear why he's literally perfect.
Yeah.
He's cute/hot.
Cute and
The
hot.
perfect combination of cute and hot.
Oh my God. He's a button and he makes me wet.
Sensitive, big on communication. Sometimes it can feel a little anxious on his end or like it's deflating the romantic tension, but I'm trying to vibe with it. He thinks his toxic ex of 2 years who he broke up with in the spring cheated on him. Okay.
Okay.
Loves doing things for me and giving little gifts and being very sweet and touchy, and our sexual chemistry is A+. We both are people who get off on getting others turned on and like to be equally dominant, so it creates a kind of positive feedback loop of sex that neither of us has experienced before.
Okay.
Very
Very
specific.
specific. Yeah.
He's ambitious, smart, a guy who likes taking care of others, always has a cool date planned, and an adrenaline junkie. We're both big into traveling and adventuring.
Okay.
On the con side,
He ain't
there's
perfect.
cons. Wow. He lives 4 hours away.
I mean,
That's a big one.
Okay.
He's come down a few times, and I'm going up to stay with him for a week to try it out. And I don't know if our humor matches up. He's this very goofy, dumb, sex-heavy dude humor, a product of living with military guys since he was 18. And I can act like a goober some of the time. What's a goober?
I don't know, but I'm not. I don't think that's like.
Maddie, what's the Urban Dictionary goober definition?
Right. Yeah. I wouldn't say this is. I don't think he's written for the Harvard Lampoon.
But I feel like dumb, sex-heavy dude humor does not read like nerdy.
A silly goose is what.
A silly goose.
Okay. Can
Thanks,
act like
Urban
let's
Dictionary.
reply, and it can act like a silly goose some of the time.
Well, he is very goofy, dumb, sex-heavy dude humor. To me, that is a
A
goober.
little immature.
Yeah, a little
Okay.
immature. You know, he would have loved that whole part we did about shitting the pants.
Yes.
Right.
If you're listening, I hope you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
My humor is more sarcastic, dry, and biting, lovingly, I think. And I use humor a lot to handle conflict and diffuse tension. My roommate described him as a golden retriever and me as a black cat.
That makes more sense to me of a description, I guess.
Yeah, I can see that. He sent me reels on Instagram, and to be honest, sometimes I can't watch the whole thing. They make me cringe a bit. And he won't roast me back. He is.
I hate this whole roast culture that now
Yeah.
exists. You're not going to roast me back. Like, no,
That's
I don't.
right. Who wants that from someone they're dating? He is literally the sweetest, most caring, thoughtful guy I've ever met, wrapped in this amazing, tough, hot guy package. I know he's extremely into me. He asked his family about our situation and told me multiple times I make him nervous. I feel guilty for being on the fence, but I can also feel myself pulling back. I'm a known avoidant, and I have run from most guys who really wanted me. Yes, I'm in therapy. I dropped my roster to focus on him and really want to be able to say I gave this a real shot. But I also don't want to be unfair to him, especially when it takes so much effort for us to see each other and it already feels like we're in two different places emotionally. Am I pulling the trigger too soon, or should I give the relationship more time and just try and be super honest with him along the way? Thanks for all your help, Black Cat Fetch.
So there's a lot here that like is more, I guess, overarching things. She's asking about humor being a match, right?
Right, I guess that to me isn't even like the crux of the issue.
Right. What do you think it is?
To me, it's a no. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you hear like the rundown and the way that someone talks about something, and this is like a classic example, and a lot of women do this, of like, great on paper, I should like this guy,
Okay.
but I don't really like this guy.
Interesting.
No, because we have that. I mean, men don't get this a lot. I think a lot of, but
Mhm.
I know I myself, and I feel like I have a lot of friends who are like, this guy. There's so many guys out there that like don't want a relationship and you know aren't planning dates and are being flaky and are giving you mixed messages. And this guy is doing all of the right things.
Right.
And you're kind of, and as a woman who's dated a lot of those other guys, you're like, okay, I found a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I need to make this work.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't actually like him because like that's only one half of it.
Yeah.
Like the perfect when the stars align, it's because that happens in addition to you liking their personality. This you have one of the things, but
Interesting.
not both.
Because she was like glowing about, like, it's funny that like I didn't see that until you said that.
Where she's like, he's a good partner. Objectively, he plans
Right.
dates. He's very into communicating. He's open with his feelings. But like, it's almost like it's a great house, but not the house for me.
Yeah, because, and I guess it goes, because when I read this, I was like, oh, the humor's off. Who cares? Let him bomb. Like I thought of this in a totally different
Okay.
way, but I to go with what
You
you're
thought
saying.
it was a yes.
I didn't think it was a yes, but I thought it was a keep trying.
Mm-hmm. Well, would you keep trying if you were her? I don't think you would, based on the way
Right.
you describe a lot of your dates. I feel like you would have been out like months ago.
Well, to your point,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the things she's giving him a box check on,
Mm-hmm.
he has to do because of the 4 hours.
Okay. All right. He
Him-
has to plan dates.
He has to plan dates if he
Yeah.
wants to see you. He has to be communicative with you. And saying, I've talked about a situation in my family, you don't know if that's happened. Have you met the family?
Right.
She's giving him a lot of credit because she can't, when you're 4 hours away from each other, you can fake it really easily because anyone can be a good boyfriend for a weekend. Anyone can do like, she says she's going to do the week trip. I can do a week. You know, like I don't know what the plan. I don't know. It just doesn't like. It's funny that she's like he's the perfect guy, but it's like yeah, he has to do those things if he's
Right.
gonna fuck.
And,
You know, like and I don't mean to be like
Yeah.
So, but that is part of like you know he was attractive enough to go 4 hours.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm saying, like, okay, let's say she's right. He is really into it.
Mhm.
He is. That's not a reason to date someone either.
Right,
Just because
doesn't-
he's into it doesn't sound like
Well, because then
you're into it. I
and-
mean, I don't
and-
think any one of these things on their own, like, oh, I don't like all of the Instagram reels he sends to me. Like,
Mhm.
fine.
Who
That's not a
cares?
big deal. Or I don't know. What else did she say?
Well, there was. She said, this is to that point. She goes, he's perfect in the beginning, and then she's like, I think the sex and him making plans are really easy to get distracted by.
Yeah.
Because sexes are hard to find a good partner, especially the way she described it. It's like this like yin and yang situation, I guess, that sexual loop, whatever the fuck that means. And then makes plans. There for me. Good. Okay, good. And now it's like, well, what else is there? Oh, well, he kind of gets he has an ex who broke up with him and, I'm trying to vibe with it, but the deflating romantic tension isn't there. It's like, whoa, that's a big fucking thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Especially for someone who lives 4 hours away from you.
Right. And it's like, so what are you talking about? What are you?
Yeah.
And I think where I'll see eye to eye with her because I'm this way
Mhm.
is to make a joke to not talk is like my move.
Okay.
Like, so it seems like she has all these issues, but like the like you said, the house analogy is good because the structure
Right.
seems so hard to find, but it's really not. The sexual partner that goes with me, the guy who will make a plan, the guy who's willing to commit. But then you go to like this inside of the house. It's like, well, there's only 2 rooms,
Right.
like, and you go, yeah, but
Eh.
this structure, you can't find it anywhere. So it feels like he has the structure of things that you need,
Yeah.
but around the ooey gooey center ain't something you like tasting.
I agree. I think she's more into like the story of it than
Right.
she is into the guy. I also think it's almost more hard when most people you meet are on the apps, and then you meet someone in person. She met him while solo traveling in Italy. She's like, "That's a
forgot
great
about that.
That's a great our story page. Like
Right.
I could make this one work. Like
Mm-hmm.
he does all the right things, but again, someone could do all the right things. Like you could sometimes you have a friend who's like, this friend isn't like doing anything wrong, but I think they're kind of annoying, but they're
Right.
not like badly intentioned, but they kind of annoy me.
And I can't like just get rid of them for kind of annoying me.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you also like, if they were someone you were dating, you wouldn't marry them.
Right. Right. And it's weird that she's like big on communication. Sometimes it can feel a little anxious on his end. Like, so you don't like the communication.
Or she does, but she doesn't like him, so she doesn't like that he's because the communication is him showing her that he's into her, and she's not that into him, so she's
Right.
like, oh, now I feel like a little uncomfy that this person's very into me, and I'm kind of like, you think he's just okay.
Right. And she wouldn't and it is funny that she ends the email with like, so should I end it? And it's like, you're already at end it. If
Right.
things were so perfect.
You're writing into the podcast.
Right. You're already gonna end it? Like
Yeah.
am I doing this too soon? Well, it seems like you've done it. Like
Yeah.
you're out mentally as well. You're going, sex is great, guy is great, not your guy.
Find someone closer to home that you're
4
or
hours is such a opt out. Like
for
meeting,
4 hours you got to be so into someone.
right?
To me,
Yeah, because that drive, you want to be delusional on that drive.
right?
You want to be going, I can't wait. Oh, we're gonna do this. You don't want to have that one moment of like, is this like too much? What am I doing?
You're halfway there,
Right.
You're stopping at a gas station. Why
At a
am I
Roy
doing this?
Rogers.
Right. I don't even like this person that much.
Right. Oh, I wanted to be healthy today, but I guess I'll
Yeah.
have the curly fries.
You ever like travel across town, like even in New York for like a meeting that you're like, I didn't even really need to take this meeting. Like, I don't know why
Oh my God.
I'm here.
You know
or
how
like a podcast you've got, you're like, it's like you're sitting in traffic on the way to this thing you don't even really want to go to. Why
the
do I agree to
worst
this?
feeling in the world. You're going,
I could have just said no.
and then you start going, this is what I do. This is what I do. I say yes to everything. I don't need to be doing these things. And then you go in with this like bad attitude. There will be a point where this woman does that 4-hour drive and is walking into a house with an attitude that she doesn't even like about herself.
Yeah.
I've done that. And I've talked myself into a fucking like a sweat.
Well, that's necessary to not do it again. So
You got to feel it.
yeah.
Let's do some awkward sex.
Let's
You
do
ready?
it.
UUP@Betches.com, UUP@Betches.com. Hello, J&J. Your trend of awkward sex stories from students studying abroad made me remember my own study abroad experience in Rome, so wanted to share. It's an Italian
Yeah, it's an
episode
Italian-
of the Thanksgiving
as two
episode.
people who studied abroad in Florence. I
Yes.
mean, this is perfect for us.
Do women just go, like, this is so bothersome to me. Do they just go to Italy and they're like, I can't wait to just go fuck? And
Yeah.
no one comes here.
I think it's kind of like, okay, I think it's a few different things. One, you're going into like a European culture where like I think sex is a little bit less prudish and a little bit more, and it's more like, oh, I'm having an adventure.
Romance
because-
language.
Yes. I
Yeah.
also don't like, none of these people like know anyone I'm with, so I don't have to worry about like this interaction and how it affects like my circle, my social circle, especially when you're like in college.
You won't be given that scarlet A of sorts.
Sure, yeah. Or
Yeah.
like these are like pretty much a stranger. Like this guy is not gonna know if he's an Italian person, he's not gonna be like telling anyone anything.
That makes it even hot. The way you just described it, there's some woman like going, oh yeah, stranger.
Yeah,
Some Italian man who won't tell anyone I know. Like that's hot to a lot of women.
totally.
Man,
I
I
get
want everyone to know. Screaming from
Well,
the rooftops
That's our society.
of a
right?
McDonald's like a real American. Hey everybody, touch the titty.
Yeah, there's no one from Italy coming to the United States to hit up McDonald's. To be like, I just want to find an American to have that
It is so
illicit
upsetting.
sexual experience.
Love
That
Actually
could have
does.
been you with the stomping outside at the drive-through, just
That-
ready to pick them up.
That's me, just waiting.
Right.
Waving with Ronald McDonald next to me. It is so annoying. I want some European women to come here to find, their one night of their lives.
So you're gonna get some DMs, maybe.
Arrivederci, baby. Is that the right word? Is that no?
I think that's Italian.
It's
Yeah.
goodbye. What's hello? Ciao.
Ciao. Ciao.
Ciao.
You were studied abroad
I
in Italy. So you picked up a lot of the language.
Maybe this is why I didn't get fucked. I was saying goodbye
you
to
were
everyone.
You were all like arrivederci.
They're like, what? I guess. Okay. My main goal for the trip was to have a torrid Italian love affair with a hot Italian stallion. You see this? I wanted a one-night stand that I could refer to when I was older, reminiscing about that wild night I once had in Rome. Is this something women aspire to?
I don't know if you think about it like as like for the story, but yeah, I could see that.
I mean, I just imagine
I
this
want to
woman.
live. I'm going abroad. It's my time to.
That I understand, but the way she described this, like, is she gonna be 50 at dinner with her husband? He's gonna be like, Elaine, you're drifting off somewhere, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pietro. She's sweating, wet,
No, I think
shit her
that's
pants like she's at a
completely-
Carrot Top show.
Do you know how many like shows or books or things are like made for women to sort of like have that ideal fantasy of like, it's almost in contrast to the idea of like, okay, we all want that biologically, we want to be like settled down by a certain age, right? So
Right.
you have that time thing against you.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean you like stop living and breathing as a person. So I
Right.
think that like there's kind of this rush to like settle down, get married and have kids. And then once you're there, the whole like the old trope is like, oh, then you're like dreaming of the old like asshole with with like the great sex experience that
Right.
like you've given up for the stability.
I guess the wrongness of that makes it even hotter.
Right.
This is why,
Have
you know,
seen what was that show on Netflix? Sex Life? Sex something?
I did see that.
Girls.
What? No, Sex Life, I think it was, about the woman who was in Connecticut
Right.
with her husband, with the rich husband and the kid, and she's like having an affair with the
huge penis guy.
Yes.
That became like a huge story because everyone was watching on TikTok and they're like, go to minute whatever. And it's like, I'm like, oh, I guess I got to go to minute whatever and see what's going on here. And then you're like, oh my God, you
Big
know,
penis,
like,
yeah.
big penis. But no, I get it. This is something like men need to know though, like as far as like foreplay is concerned.
yes,
Like you need like the
Reenact
mindset, just the
asshole.
mind, right? Be the asshole. You know,
Yes.
wear the Italian flag. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's just so funny that she's like, I want to get this in now, so
Right.
I have it in my, my tool shed for when I want to get off.
Yeah.
When around my
Once I
boring
fi-
husband.
Once I find someone, once I find a stable, secure person, then I can think of the fun I used to have.
It's depressing to me.
It's a little depressing, but it's also kind of like that's life.
Hey, Elaine, you're not touching your Olive Garden all-you-can-eat salad. Oh, sorry. I was thinking.
What?
Oh, sorry. I'm drifted to Rome.
Ah,
That one man I met. Okay, let's. One night out in Campo di Fiore.
that sounds
I
right.
think I've been there.
You sound like Guy Fieri.
Guy Fieri. I drank one too many lights of a Havanas. And there he was, a beautiful Italian specimen of a male. We had instant chemistry and had some light making out at the bar. He kept trying to get me to go home with him, but I wasn't ready to end the night just yet, and asked that he hang out with my friends and I as we bar hopped. When the night ended, as we were walking back to his place, we ended up having a full-on makeout session while leaning against the wall of one of the apartment buildings nearby. In my defense, I wasn't planning on things moving as fast as they did, but pretty soon our clothes were coming off. Right as we were about to take things to the next level, a bucket of cold, dirty water was dumped out of an apartment window onto us. We looked up, and an old Italian lady was yelling at us and telling us to go home. I immediately... Basta for Joe!
Why would she be yelling
I
past?
don't know. Just like, hey, arrivederci! Get your whore ass out of here!
Yes, I like that.
These every weekend a new American whore comes here to take our men and make out on the street corner.
I mean, respect to this woman. She was like,
Good for her.
right?
Took control of the
She
neighborhood.
was
She's
like-
on the neighborhood watch.
Yeah, she's like, fuck this, not another one.
Yeah. Get out of here, Ohio!
It's like she's breaking up the hose on the street.
Right. She comes out with a fire hose. Prosciutto! He's out the window. I immediately sobered up, and not surprisingly, the mood was gone. I was disgusted that I was covered in filthy water and essentially ran home with the guy calling after me. He wasn't fazed a bit. I didn't exchange phone numbers or emails and was not interested in seeing him again. I was mortified. As I walked home, a dripping wet walk of shame. I thought at least I could have my Italian love affair story to share when I was older, right? Wrong. The next Monday at school, I was on Instant Messenger. Yes, Instant Messenger. When I started getting SOS messages from friends, ends up the guy from that night was at the school looking for me.
Okay.
Lauren! Lauren! I'm here, I'm trying. He recognized one of the friends from the bar, asked if she knew where I was. I immediately packed up my stuff and tried to run off before he found me. However, as I was running out the door, we literally bumped into each other. Ends up, he was an Israeli exchange student. Oh,
No, not even
no.
Italian. It's the Anita Gelato of
Right. Of
abroad
humans.
experiences,
Yeah.
yes.
Exchange student would be someone I'd run into the next few months. While this whole story could have ended up as a really great meet cute, he kept trying to play it cool and acted like he wasn't sure if he remembered me or not. That's a weird change to go from looking for you to not remembering
right,
you.
to then be like too cool.
Instant turnoff, and I reminded him I was the one he was asking my friends about. Needless to say, it made for an awkward few months as I tried to hide from him around the school, but definitely makes for a good awkward sex story. Thanks for all you do. Sincerely, another Italian love story. What do you think, Jordana?
Great story. I
Great
feel
story.
like it's great. It's a great story to be able to say that someone threw a bucket of water on you for being.
It's visually like I can
Yes.
imagine it.
Yes.
You know, I can
It's like out of a
imagine the old
movie.
Italian woman. I can imagine her with the babushka,
She's like, not another abroad hoe again.
right, doing this out the window.
Yes.
If you're watching on YouTube, you get a very special.
Yes. I
Um,
call this the American Abroad Hoe Ice Bucket Challenge.
I love it. I love it. Maddie had the impasta. I like that.
Like that.
Bucket list bang, shower of shame. I had all wet, no orgasm.
That sounds like what he was. What he would probably be texting his friends back in Israel.
Right. Yeah,
Try
killed it. She was all wet. No orgasm, but that's okay. We tried.
I like that.
So, red flag deal breaker. I would you run away like this?
It depends. If I sobered up, it depends what I thought of the person in front of me.
Right.
If I was
Oh,
sober.
fuck.
Right.
Fuck. You're not Giuseppe Lasagna. You're Josh Schwartz.
I think that would be more of the issue. It's not like, oh, like now I think if I sobered up and I was like, oh, this person's still pretty hot, I would probably stay.
Right.
She
It
was-
is funny that in her mind, Italian lover, ooh, baby, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden it's Greg Bloomberg.
Oops.
It's really
Not quite the
exchanged
exotic situation. What
Right.
about you? You keep going.
Do I know you from camp? For me, no. I'm the guy chasing her, being like, I don't care. It's not that dirty.
Oh, you're her friend. Where is she? What's her classroom? I'll come
Right.
get her.
I wouldn't have played it the way he did it, not
Very
remember.
weird.
But it is an immature, like, college guy thing.
Maybe
to,
she
like,
looked different than she did when she was out.
maybe, yeah. After the bath, most women look different.
That's true.
So you look more beautiful after the bath.
Well, it's still a great abroad story. I'm happy for her.
I agree. Let's go on to some more emails.
Okay. Hi, J&J. Love the show. I'm a new listener. It's been so great binging the pod over the last few weeks. I love hearing y'all's advice, and it's so refreshing that it doesn't seem biased like some of the other podcasts, which feel skewed by social media instead of real life.
Ooh, I wonder what they're
Interesting.
talking about. Welcome to the show, though.
Yes. Tell your friends.
Saying hello to you on YouTube. I'm looking right into the camera.
Hi. Let me get straight to the point. My boyfriend, 25, and myself, 25, have been together about 2.5 years. We have slowly been talking more and more about taking the next step of marriage and have had more solid conversations on the topic. You guys are pretty young for that, in my opinion, but that's not why she's writing him. He has mentioned in passing that he would want to live together beforehand, but I'm kind of more on the opposite side. We both haven't given this idea a hard yay or nay. I've heard that sometimes it just leads to unsuccessful marriages down the line due to the fact that you're doing a trial marriage by living together, which makes commitment levels go down for either party. There's real research behind this. A small part of me, especially in the past, would have wanted to do the move-in thing, but after some thought and growth, I feel like if you believe that you're committed enough to live together, why not just get married? We do trips all the time, and I stay at his place usually 2 to 3 days out of the week, sometimes more since I've lived at home with my family. I've lived alone in the past and plan to again starting this year. Once I'm living alone again, I have a feeling as we get more and more serious, the subject will come up again as we consider each other and our future plans amidst lease commitments, etc. I feel like we already have a feel for each other's living behaviors. Is moving in together before marriage really necessary? I'd love to hear from y'all. Thanks so much. Sincerely, to move or not to move.
You know what's so interesting about this email? So, we say this a lot. Sometimes the answer's in the email.
Yeah.
This person, it's so interesting that they didn't even realize they wrote kind of their problem in their own email without knowing it.
Like her own problem.
Her own problem. She wrote, it's funny. She writes, it's so refreshing that it doesn't seem biased like some other podcasts, which feels skewed by social media instead of real life. And then she goes, I've heard that sometimes it leads to unsuccessful marriages down the line due to the fact that you're doing a trial marriage by living together, which makes commitment levels go down for either party. There's research behind that. She is getting biased by research she's read as opposed to like it feels like she has this rule now. Like
in her mind because of whatever she
she read.
Okay, yeah.
And
And she likes that we don't do rules.
Right.
Yes.
So it is interesting that she's not even following what she likes. To me, I do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I see what you're saying. Like she's like, oh, like it feels like the better rule, the rule should be don't live with someone because all the research backs up this thing. But
Right.
like, I don't know if I actually, because it doesn't seem like she like that's the only reason she's giving
It's the only reason.
for not wanting to live
Which
together.
to me means she's afraid to move in with this person. And then what people do and what she is doing, and this is someone I don't want.
Is she afraid to move in with them, or does she want the security of an engagement?
I guess both could be true.
Mhm.
Both are entrenched in fear.
Right.
Because to say, I hate when people do this. Well, we already stay 2 to 3 days a week together, and at this point, the rent. This is like someone called it like a New York move-in.
Right.
Like
Well, that's the opposite way of what you're supposed to do when moving in together, making those decisions. I think Logan Ury talks about this a lot, and I've read like articles. I feel like in New York Times or something about that. It's like called like sliding in versus like sliding versus deciding.
I didn't know about this, but it speaks to me.
Yes. So
Yeah.
sliding is like when you're kind of like, oh, the rent is expensive, and like my lease is coming up, and your lease is coming up. We might as well live together.
Right.
That's sliding, and that's what leads to like the less successful situations. Whereas
Right.
deciding is like we're both really ready to do this. It has
Mhm.
nothing to do with with those external factors, but we've decided we're ready for this next move.
I'm a slider with a lot of things in relationships. I'll admit it. And
Men, I feel like, are more prone to that. Yeah.
Totally. I got my snowboard out and I am sliding all around into relationship shit. And it's a bad quality. I don't like it about myself. It's what makes me think back on relationships going, Jared, this is what made me say, and I've said it on this show before, is being lazy and being not intentional with dating. And I agree with that. It makes my interest level. Did I just get here? Did I just wake up here? Or did I decide to come here?
Right.
And this person, I just don't agree with them. You know, like I based on my experience.
Do you feel like, so are you saying like you should live with someone before you get married, or is it not even about that?
I think you should be pumped. I want to be pumped. Like,
Right.
and like that's the most bro-y. Toss me a
Stoked.
natty light. you know, like let's crush this marriage shit. I don't know. I aspire to excitement.
Yeah.
And this feels if someone was like, well, you know, it's like when you match with someone, they're like, well, I'm in New York all the time, and they live in like fucking Morristown, New Jersey. You're like, well, I'm not excited for that anymore. Like,
Right.
I don't need this, you know, contractual. I don't need you selling me on this. I don't want to be sold on the next phase of life,
Yeah.
and that is to me like something I have trouble with personally. So, but I can hear it in the way she wrote this email at the end when it's like, I stay at his place 2 to 3 days a week, sometimes more. It's like you're just trying to convince me of your side of the argument instead of like, I just want to live with this person no matter what. And whatever, marriage will come. And that's like to me, that's because someone lacks fear
When they won't, why they won't.
when they're excited.
Okay.
Excitement is delusion a little bit.
Would you get engaged to someone before living with them?
I could see it happening.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't, I'd be like, I can't believe I'm fucking doing this.
Yeah,
But I could see it happening.
Right, because well, you know, it's funny. I had this conversation with someone recently, and what he said, I do believe is true. It's kind of like if you were on the fence, moving in with someone is not going to change you in either direction. You're still going to be on
Right.
the fence.
Yes.
If you're into it, also, it's not going to make you more into it or less into it. You're still going to be into it, and if you're
Yeah.
not into it, you're still going to not be into it when you like. It doesn't. He's like. He was someone who's like lived with multiple people. So it's kind of like, it doesn't change anything really. Like I think there's very few cases where you move in with someone and you discover something that's so different about them that really changes your decision about whether, I mean, like maybe they're disgusting like us.
But right. But you kind of knew that already.
Right.
You've stayed at their place. You saw they kept
Yeah.
their place. I mean, the extreme version that people know about that gets used is like having a baby to save the marriage.
Right.
You know,
It's not going to change anything.
Not going to change anything. So
Yeah.
like, you know, the apartment becomes the baby. The engagement becomes the baby. So in this case, you're right. Like engagement or moving,
None of that. Right.
none of that.
Right, because we feel like those are just signifiers to some people, but they're not the same. The person who's convinced into it is not the same signifier as the person who's like excitedly doing it.
Right. I want to be skipping down
Yeah.
the aisle. You know, like you want to be like, you know, this is all just cream. You
Right.
know, like, and listen, you get caught up, and it's so easy to say from my position right here, like single, 37, not you know, not dating anybody, like as single as I'm so single. It's easy to say over here because what happens is you start, you know, interweaving your life with someone,
Mhm.
and you get to the point where you go, it's more
you're
trouble
probably-
to get out than to stay in.
You're probably even less likely to live with someone for a long time before getting married to them. You probably
I've had that
Right.
thought a lot
Yeah.
recently, where it's like, if these things were to happen, they would happen pretty quick for me.
I think a lot of people who have lived with people and it hasn't worked out for them do have that mentality of like, I'm not gonna. They're almost like in this woman's shoes, where they're like, I'm not gonna live with someone that I don't intend to marry because it's just much more complicated to leave.
Right. But I wouldn't even opt that conversation. If I was having the conversation with someone to this person's email, and they're 25, so they, you know,
that's
so
another
that's
thing
another part
that
of this.
I, you know, that if I were, that's a different question also to me, because it's about a different stage of life. And maybe they're, you know, she said y'all, so maybe they're from like an area of the country where people get married a lot
Right.
sooner. But in New York, it'd be like, if New York, if you knew someone who was getting engaged at 25, you'd be like, relax.
Well, I'd also say to this person, like, at 25, if you're not pumped and you're doing like the math on, well, we do 2 to 3 days a week, maybe you don't like that person that much. Maybe you're not
Yeah.
excited.
But
maybe it's time to pump the brakes. But I agree. Like 25 in New York is like,
Right.
what are you doing?
Or is she using the moving in thing together? And this is another thing that sometimes women do, or men, whatever, mostly women do, is like, okay, like I'm kind of going to use this to manipulate the situation to get the engagement faster than the other person. Because the other person's
Right.
like logically like, yeah, I'd like to move in together. I don't know if I'm ready for marriage. But if the person's not ready to move in, maybe they'll just be like, well, I guess I might as well propose. Because she's
Right.
not going to live together until
a-
we're engaged.
A bargaining chip of sorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in that scenario, you're like, you're fucked. like this is not going to be a fun. To me, that's
If you're using it as that card, yeah.
not a life I would want to be
Right.
involved in.
But I can see how you, and I think that's almost like we talk about everything else, owning your standard. She could say to him, listen, I'll move in together, but just so you know what this means to me is that we're on the road to engagement and going to get engaged within 6 months to a year after we live together.
Right. That's that,
And that's if someone said that to you before you moved in together and you weren't sure, I think that would actually might change your, even in the past.
we'd be broken up a week later.
Right. But
There's-
that'd be a good thing.
right, that'd be a
That's
good
what I'm
thing.
saying. Yeah.
And yeah, it would be, this talk would end it for me. Like,
Right.
and as you said, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
As stark of answer as that is, it is, you know, I think, listen, I look back as far as these issues are concerned, I'm like, yeah, I would do it differently now and have, and to go back to the first email of
But
like
that was-
using humor to like not talk.
Right.
Like these are that's what I do, and then I don't have that conversation.
But the communication probably wasn't there on the other end either, where the person wasn't like to you, this is what this means to me, just so you know, and this is what I'm expecting. It's like anything we said, like, oh, when you're introducing me to your friends, like to me that means we're getting pretty serious. Like that,
Right.
even if that changes, even if that causes the person to end things with you earlier, is still, that's a good thing. It's because you're letting them know what that means to you and how serious it is, so maybe they won't do the move
Absolutely.
if they're not on the same page.
And the biggest addition I would make to that is that's why they're taking their research. They've done research, and it's like, no, they're outsourcing the opinion to the research,
Yeah.
instead of their standards.
Yeah, and you don't have to justify
No.
anything. If you're kind of like, I want to live with someone that I'm going to marry, that's an okay opinion to have. If
Right.
the other person's like, I want to marry you, but I'm also like, I'd like to live together first, that's an opinion
Right.
they have. But if you say, okay, well, like, we can compromise and I can move in, but just so you know, I expect to be proposed to in the next year. That's
Well, Dr. Lovestein says it right here. We are going to get divorced if we move in before. Yeah.
right. I mean, who cares what the reason is? It's really just like just say what you want.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Let's play some games. You ready?
Okay.
Red flag or deal breaker. We have some really good red flag or deal breakers
These are
today.
great today.
These are like thorough, specific.
This first one killed me.
They're all the things. Yeah. Okay. The first one I can't even believe is a question, but I won't put my judgment sauce on it. Okay. I've got a triple threat. I've got a triple threat red flag deal breaker that all happened within the first 30 minutes of a third date a few months ago. Third date.
It's surprising when you get three red flag deal breakers within a third date, because you would think you wouldn't have gotten that far if all three were possible,
Right. This person was like, they must have been a different person.
right?
Because, okay, we had planned for a cycling date around the city along the waterfront with pit stops to chat and have drinks. What do you think of that date?
Cycling date around the city.
Like if someone was like, let's go get city bikes, we'll take it up the West Side Highway, and we'll make a few pit stops for drinks.
Third date, I guess if you've already discussed that you both are into biking.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the first date, no. Second date, still probably no. Third date, I could see like you're doing an activity. If they both said they're into biking, I could see it.
Right. I guess I would have had to have had sex with this person to do this date.
I mean, I also don't think it's that. I guess they're making it more social, but generally bike riding is not. It's like third date movie. Like you could go to a movie, but that's not really a good date.
Right. No, I agree. I was just, it was surprised. I was just wondering about this date idea. Like this, but there is planning that went into that though.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate that. More planning than
Than you would be doing without sleeping with someone.
Right. I met him at his apartment. All of a sudden, as soon as we start biking, I hear really loud music playing. I look around to see where it's coming from, and I see that it's coming from a speaker on my date's bike. I was mortified, as I always get so annoyed with people who think the others want to hear their average at best music. We'll stop here because
Okay.
it's a triple threat red flag deal.
Yes.
Are you still on the date, or are you done with the date? Like mentally, have you checked out?
You know, there's
music on the bike.
Part of me that thinks this is absurd, but part of me is kind of like they're trying to set maybe like a mood of fun if you can hear it.
I actually thought
Right?
the same thing. I thought this was thoughtful. I
Yeah.
didn't think of it as like you're terrorizing the city, you know?
Like, have you ever been skiing and someone has like music that they're like kind of playing? Your group is like skiing together, and it kind of gives it a vibe.
I could imagine something like that happening,
Right.
but it's been a while since I've operated. So, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That one I don't think is that. I'd still be in, even though I could understand thinking that's not really your thing.
I understand why they don't think it's their thing. I would say if for someone that doesn't, to be mortified, I think is a little
wouldn't-
extreme.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but I wouldn't be like so embarrassed that someone else did.
I thought it was kind of thoughtful to
Yeah.
be like, I planned this date. Oh, let me bring a speaker. We'll have the music. Beautiful day. I kind of, it was endearing to me.
I don't think it's a big deal.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the number 2, as we bike to the liquor store, biking to the liquor store is a bit of a turn off. Right? Like,
Yeah, I would almost like separate the activities entirely. Like, don't make that one of your stops.
right. Why don't you put some
Running-
wine in a backpack?
Right. We're running errands.
Right.
And then we would stop at the post office.
Right.
And then,
As we bike to just the word liquor store.
yeah.
As we bike to the liquor store to pick up some drinks.
What are you, 15?
Right. Hey, mister. Can you get us a 6 or a Smirnoff Ice? My date was leading the way. And instead of finding bicycle lanes, he decided to bike on sidewalks towards oncoming pedestrians. This was extremely awkward and inconsiderate, so I biked on the grass, and one of the pedestrians said, "Thanks for going on the grass." Some guy over there biked right into us.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
this
so
guy-
biking on the...
I mean, not great.
I hate when people bike on the sidewalks.
Okay.
It is something that makes me look 1,000 years old.
Do people even do that in New York?
Well, it's against the law.
Okay, you're gonna make a citizen's arrest, sir. This is illegal.
No, I say that to people. That makes me look I'm like, it's
Where do you even say that? They're usually going right by.
and I go, that's against the law, sir.
Then you become like the guy in Billy Madison who puts or not Billy Madison, Big Daddy. You know, when he
Right, put the
trips, when he
sticks
trips
on,
them.
yeah.
That's you.
That's
to
me.
Teach them a lesson.
Yeah. Hey, that's against the law, sir. That's me. I think it is so inconsiderate. The bike is clunky. It can hurt people.
Yeah. That's why I personally wouldn't bike in the city because I just don't think it'd be like a pleasant, easy bike experience.
I also don't want to be the reason someone goes to the hospital.
That too.
Okay, so here's finally we get to the liquor store. I stay out with our bikes, and before my date goes into the liquor store, I hear "nice, eh?" I didn't pay much attention to it because I was mentally planning an escape. When he came back outside, he said, "When you were locking up your bike, some guy was checking you out," and I said, "Nice, eh?"
So you repeated it.
He thought it was a compliment.
He said that to the guy?
So he said it to the guy, and then came out and was like telling her.
Okay, now I'm out.
Needless to say, the date didn't get any better, and I had to break up with this guy a few pit stops later. Curious to hear your thoughts. Love you both and you up team. Sincerely, 3 Strikes. What do you think?
You know, now I'm actually a fan of the bike date because she found out so much about like this guy's personality pretty quick.
So quick.
Right.
Like,
I kind of like it.
I guess you should have this before having sex with someone.
Right.
See how they ride a bike. Yeah.
See how considerate they are.
Right.
See how weird or awkward they are.
Right. Do they do the hand signals?
Yeah.
Making a left.
What do they wear? Are they wearing like a full-on bike suit?
Reflective gear.
Yeah, with like the tight bike shorts.
Right. How into that they are. Helmet. Would you wear a helmet?
I think probably, yeah.
There's some people that like carry around the helmet with them to use city bikes here. And I'm always like, that person, you do it? Jorge?
Jared, you and I are like...
Not-
We are mortal
you guys
enemies.
are not gonna date. I'm gonna say.
Yeah, we're the yin and yang. Holy shit. You ever see that? So you carry around a bike helmet?
a bike helmet I carry on.
Do you bike on the sidewalk?
No, absolutely not. Those people actually get me enraged as well.
Right.
I agree with you.
I think a lot of New York City people get enraged by the bicycle.
If someone was
sidewalk
checking
people.
your wife out, would you say nice, eh?
She's a teacher.
She's a teacher, yeah. If you said nice to me, I go, does she teach? I don't. Not for me.
Not for me.
Yeah, I guess you're right. The bike day would suss it out.
Yeah, I think it's great. The nice A was really the part that bothered me the most.
Right. I will defend a little bit. Not.
It's hard to look that smooth too, and all these things. You feel like you're just kind of like, I don't want to be. This is the guy that I'm
Right.
with, right?
Sometimes it sucks as a guy because you have to other men think that you're in with the things they want to acknowledge you with.
Okay.
So they'll embarrass you. You know, where you go, like, if you'll be out and you'll be with a woman and some random guy will go, ha ha, ha ha, woo! And you kind of want to go, like, you're not going to go, you shall not talk to a woman like that.
Right.
You know, like, it's like, you're like, I'm just trying to get through the day here. And listen,
But he didn't do that. He
No.
said,
Right.
nice, eh?
Right.
That's what is that what like if a guy that was checking out the person you were on a date with and you said that.
I wouldn't.
Pretty good, huh?
Well,
I did good.
killing it. Here's where I'm trying to give him empathy. Is I could understand that someone was like, oh, whoa, aha, and he was like, yeah, nice, eh? And then he goes, fuck, I think she heard that.
And then he repeated it.
And he was like, how do I get out of this? I guess I'll just say what happened so that it doesn't sound like I'm talking behind her back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm giving way too much.
Yeah, this is a date that backfired for him.
Yes. And
think.
I don't assume he.
I would not go into an activity on a third date, especially if I were a guy, where I didn't feel like I was going to totally nail the activity.
Where I didn't know all the variables.
Yeah.
Right. You're right. And because him on the sidewalk tells me he's not aware.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't do karaoke on a third date. And I understand some people might, but I would just be like, I don't know if I'm going for like that vulnerable of a look
Right.
at that point.
After learning about the ick
Yeah.
and how quickly a woman can be like, I don't think I'm going to go sing some Bruce Springsteen.
Not right away. You gotta
Right.
like lock the person in first.
Let's do another.
Yeah. Okay. Hey J and J, my friends and I in London love the pod and always ask, what would Jordana and Jared say?
Whoa, foggy London town.
That's exactly how they say it, right?
Hello, governor.
I don't know why they speak like they're in the Mary Poppins era. In your
Always,
mind.
always a chimney sweep.
What,
Hello.
Daddy,
What would Jordana and Jared think?
when it comes to our dating dilemmas, thanks for all you do. This has happened to me a couple of times now. I'm curious how you would manage it.
Crikey. Oh, that's Australian. Sorry.
I matched on an app with a truly lovely guy. He's smart, good looking, funny, and good banter on messaging pre-date. We got to the date and he gave me a kiss hello on the cheek. Well, two actually. I mean, you are in Europe.
Right.
And I got a waft of a really bad smell.
Uh-oh.
I wasn't sure what it was, but I remember thinking, that can't possibly be his breath. As the date went on, the music was loud, the vibe was good, and he was leaning in further to talk to me more.
Hopefully he just farted.
I could see thinking that.
Right.
I was horrified to realize that the smell was in fact his awful breath. There was a flirty vibe, and at the end of the date, he was definitely giving me the eyes as if he wanted to kiss me. However, I found the whole thing so off-putting and made him far less attractive in my eyes. We ended the date, and I ended up going in for a big bear hug at the end, just to make it clear I wasn't going to kiss him. For reference, I'm 35 and he's 42. Surely he should have the basics of dental hygiene down by now. He was well dressed, works out, and clearly takes pride in his appearance, just not his oral hygiene, apparently. On paper, I think this guy is great and I'd like to see him again in theory, but I found his breath to be so off-putting. So I'm curious, should I give him another chance and see if he brushes his teeth before? I feel like I put in so much effort when I go on a date. Hair, makeup, outfit, nails. Surely a basic brush and floss isn't too much to ask. Floss is a different story.
Ooh, okay.
So my question is, for a great potential person, is this a deal breaker, or is there a way I can ask him to brush or floss without being really rude? There's honestly no way I could kiss him without with the way things were.
So I think this is an interesting predicament
Totally.
because anyone can have bad breath.
Yes.
Like the way
on
she made
occasion.
it sound like he just doesn't care about his dental hygiene. Like that's harder to
One
believe.
time, yeah.
One time.
Mhm.
And it's harder to believe that someone just like disregards their teeth. And hey, slip them the Quip promo code
Yeah.
that we got on this episode. But
Give him a piece of gum.
yeah, hit him up with, but like I like my family used to call it temple breath.
Okay.
You go to like
Hope there's someone
temple
speaking in your face.
or no, because it was just your mouth was closed for a while and you're just like, you walk out of temple just having bad breath.
Okay.
Like on the high
How often are
holidays.
you going to temple?
Like high holidays, you get temple breath. You know,
Okay.
we used to say that all the time. And it's like, hit that person with a mint, like, you get temp. So I think it happens like, I don't know what his job is, but if you're like not, like when we talk, I think that's good. I'm talking out of my ass right now. Like, so
Good
is
for
he
the
with
breath?
the smell. I think it's better for the breath to be like, have an active mouth
Mm-hmm.
than it is like if you're at a computer all day, just like not saying much. Like I think so. I give empathy to the bad breath person on a date where maybe you're coming from work and you're not really bringing the floss and toothbrush with you to work. Did you ever have that at work?
What do you mean? Where-
Did you ever have the person that was in your office that
I've never
would brush
sat-
their teeth at work? Does anyone here brush their teeth at work?
I don't think that's a thing. Is
Oh,
that a
I
thing?
used to when I'd sold life insurance, people would like have meetings. They'd run to the bathroom and start brushing their teeth
Interesting.
because they were so afraid. They wanted to like
Make sure they made a good impression.
right.
Yeah.
So, but not a lot of people do that, and then you lose track of it. So I have empathy for this guy. I give him one more chance.
Yeah. Would you say something? If all else was great, it would almost be like, here's the thing. The nicest thing you could do for the person
Right.
would be to say something. It would be very embarrassing, but it would also be like extremely helpful. Like I would rather someone tell me that
Me too.
than get dumped for seemingly no reason.
Hey, how would you say it?
What would
I'm
be
trying to
worse?
think.
I'm trying to think. Someone you thought you had a great time with, not asking you on another date, or not saying yes to a date that you asked them on, or having the person say, "Hey, I'm having a really great time. I just want to let you know there is a little bit of a smell."
It's hard because it's like I would want to know.
You would want to know in theory.
But
I think we all would,
I would be so embarrassed.
but it'd be mortifying.
mortified. It's like it's like having your fly undone.
Yeah.
How many people saw? How long has this
Yeah.
been for?
You'd have to say it really nicely.
Hey, I have to let you know, I'm having the best time, but your breath smells like dog too.
I mean, if someone said that to you on a date, what would
I
you?
would want to know, and I would go, "Oh my god, do you have gum? You have to have gum on you. You have to
Okay.
have something on
say
you
that. Okay.
because you can't just let them. Sucks for you. You
Right.
can't just like let them out and then have no solution for them.
Right.
So I would, if it was a second date and the come packing.
Right.
So if I was this person, I'd have it in my purse and then be like, "Hey, I don't know. I'm sure you've been at work all day, and but it does, I'm sure you didn't fucking
I'd give him
huff
another
a dog's
chance.
asshole before you came here." So
Would you say something to someone you were on a date with?
I don't think I could. I don't have the strength.
I don't know if I could either, but I would like to be the kind of person who could say it in a.
I'd have to love them. Like I'd have to be like, this is the person, but I need them to know.
Yeah, you
like
have to be like, this was there. This is amazing. There's just this one small thing.
One thing I couldn't walk away. That was a fun date, and then but the breath fucking
Yeah,
stuck.
you
know,
would, yeah. If it was like if you were on the fence, you'd be out. If you were really into them, I feel like, and it was date 2. I agree. Date 1, I might let it go. If it was date 2, I think I might say something.
Date 2, you bring gum with you. Hey, do you want gum? Here's the thing.
I brought
Now, let me-
a pack of Listerine.
I carry it everywhere with
Do you
me.
want?
What if, okay, you say something, they go, "I have halitosis." What do
Is
you?
that treatable? I don't even.
I don't know. I don't know. It is this is my disease. Like this is something I deal with. So now it is something that they will have.
I'd have to do some research or have to ask them like, oh, is that like a chronic, untreatable thing?
Right. And what if they said, "Well, this is my life unless I get like reconstructive jaw, whatever."
It'd be a decision. I'd have to hope for a cold. For most of our dating days. I
Right.
mean, it'd be a decision as anything else. You'd have to weigh just how good
Depends
it
how
was.
bad it is.
It's a little embarrassing to
It's a horrible
that's
affliction.
Constantly, yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I would say something on day 2 if you bring.
I'm going on day 2. I'm bringing gum.
Yes.
If it's that bad, considering the way they wrote about it, and then I'd be like, and
I
would,
just want to let you know.
I would even start with, "Hey, you want some gum?" No. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if someone offered me gum as soon as I saw them, I would. If you were self-aware, you'd have to think like, you'd have to double check your own self.
Anytime someone offers me a gum, I go, "Does my breath stink?"
Yeah, you could
Tell me.
You could tell me.
Yeah, right.
You could tell me.
You better fucking tell me right now,
Yeah.
or I will leave here.
That's a good friend.
Right. That's a good date.
Yes.
Last one. Let's do another
All
one.
right. Sup, J&J, I'm a 28-year-old guy, and she's a 27-year-old woman. Okay. I like how bad men are writing these emails. I was at an art.
But we love your emails.
Thank
We
you
need
for
more
writing in.
mail emails.
Yes. I was at an art exhibit, I assume that means.
Right.
I was at an art exhibit with her, and BD, we walk around the gallery.
Is this code for something,
Or is
Maddie?
this person just a terrible speller?
No, I was at a art. Yeah, this guy.
This is the bigger deal breaker than
Right.
anything he's said.
He's
I was-
asking about her.
I was at an art exhibit with her. And this is me interpreting the email. This isn't exactly how he wrote it. I was at an art exhibit with her, and we walked around the gallery. We stopped at one piece, and she asked me my thoughts. I say, "This one's dope." And when I say that, I touch the texture of the paint. She quickly shoos my hand away from the art and whispers loudly not to touch it. "Don't touch it." Anyway, nobody noticed, so it was fine.
That was Jordana's artistic interpretation for the listeners at home. That's how you'd say it?
I'd be like, I was like, I would be like, you can't touch the paint. Stop, you can't touch the painting.
You'd be more playful with it.
Yeah, I'd be a little bit more playful.
But annoyed?
A little embarrassed, maybe.
Right. I'd be initially embarrassed at being with someone who goes, "That's dope."
Yeah, that would be, I was going to say that would be like the worst part. Nobody noticed, so it was fine. She even kind of laughed when she told me not to touch it,
So
just
she
like
took
I
your
said,
route,
yes.
yeah.
Because I guess she thought it was funny. I don't think she thought it was funny. I think she was trying to not make things weird.
I agree.
Keep in mind, I've never been to any art function before in any capacity. They're making this work worse for yourself.
Right.
Keep in mind, I have no culture whatsoever.
Oh, also, not a good reason.
Yeah. I know nothing about art and didn't know how didn't know not to touch it. In my defense, there wasn't even a sign not to touch anything. The entire gallery was mid as fuck, in my opinion. I don't know what that means.
Maddie, can you translate mid as fuck?
Just like
Fine.
average.
Okay.
So red flag or deal breaker, you go on a date with someone to an art exhibit and they touch the art without causing a ruckus. This guy sounds like the most bro-y, like it sounds like you as if there was an art gallery that showed up in the middle of the fraternity house.
Here's the thing. For someone so unaware, he wrote in about himself.
Yeah. Bottle service.
Right. He does, right. He has no idea for what I have a feeling she ghosted him and he's like, do you think it was me touching the
No,
painting?
I think it was all of it.
Yeah.
I think it was the dope. I think it was mid as fuck.
Yo, the David was mid as fuck.
Yeah. I mean, clearly you guys have different interests.
Yeah, we went to the Louvre. Fucking mid as fuck.
Yeah. The touching in itself wouldn't be the deal breaker. It would be, I think, all of the things, just the entire way in which he's described his behavior at the gallery.
At the gallery. Here's my, it's touching combined with there's no sign. You don't know how to act. You don't know how to act in public.
Yeah.
You don't know how to
There's
be
no
polite.
sign that says not to pee on the floor, but most people just know not to do that.
What? I had to go.
There's no sign.
Yeah.
I've never been to a gallery before.
Right. You're not allowed to take a shit in the middle of the room? You can't touch the fossils? What? I want to play with the brontosaurus bones.
Grow up.
Right. He's choosing the route of naivete over, like, ignorance is not a defense.
Yeah, if you're not sure, ask.
You just touch someone's fucking art? Like, you're an animal.
Go hang out with the guy who bikes on the sidewalk.
Yeah, you two are made for each other. I appreciate that he listens to the show and wrote in about it. I do appreciate he wrote about himself, but there's a reason she's not texting you back. You are
Yes.
not ready to be an adult relationship.
You're not a match.
No.
This girl. Go to an Arby's.
Jordana, we did it again. We solved dating.
We did it.
And in record time. This is a
Wow.
good, I think this is our sweet spot. 77 minutes, right?
Yeah, 77 minutes. More with ads.
Sorry.
Thanks, guys, for listening, and we will see you on Sunday for our Sunday special.
Boom.
Bye.
Happy Thanksgiving.
The U Up podcast is produced by Sean Kilby, Maddie Paul, and Jorge Morales Pico. Editing by Jorge Morales Pico. Social media by Maddie Paul. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.